let's take a look at sum-ifs function. The sum-ifs function is a built-in function that allows you to add up values based on multiple criteria. The syntax of the sum-ifs is equal to sum-ifs, open bracket, the sum range, the criteria range, then the criteria 1, the criteria range 2, and the criteria 2, and so on. Now, the sum-ifs is a function that allows you to add values based on multiple criteria. Remember, the sum-if is based on just one condition, but for the sum-ifs, you can have multiple conditions. The conditions are referred to as the criteria 1, 2, and so on. And just like the sum-if, it can be things like if a number is less than another number, if a number is greater than another number, or a number is equal to something, or a text is equal to something. The criteria range are the ranges where the function checks for the condition. The sum range is where the function calculates its sum. Just like the sum-if, the sum range is where the function will calculate its sum. After all the if statements, this is where it's going to get its calculation from. Let's take a look at this. We have the same data, and with this, we're going to be trying out the sum-ifs. Sum-ifs. Now you have the syntax, the sum range. Now, what is the sum range? Let's try to calculate, okay? The sum range. The sum range can be a little bit different from the sum-if. Now, this is the sum range. This is the area that is going to be added after all the if statement. Now, we have to set it. Okay. Let's try to calculate using sum ifs. So you have the equal to sum ifs. Remember the syntax. You start by selecting the sum range. Now, the sum range is what is going to be summed after all the if statements. After we've added all the criteria and the criteria range, what is going to be summed is the sum range. So for the sum ifs, you first select the sum range. Now, what we're trying to sum is the salary of salesmen that are female. That's what we want to do. We want to sum the salaries of salesmen, the male salesmen. Now you first select the range, comma. What is the criteria range? The first criteria is the job title, which is we're trying to sum the salary of only the salesmen. That is those who their job title are salesman. Now you select the criteria range 1, comma. Now what is the criteria? Salesman. So just click. Now what is the criteria? Salesman. Remember to put the criteria in a quotation. So you have it, salesman, comma. Now we are in the criteria range 2. The second criteria is the gender. We want to get only the male salesman. Now you highlight. Comma. and you put the criteria male. If we had more criteria, you can still add them. But in this case, we're using just two. Remember, for the sum ifs, you can have multiple criteria. But in this case, we have just two criteria. If you have more criteria, just follow the syntax, comma, select the third range and the third criteria, and you keep going on. So let's end our statement here. There we have it. So what this statement did is, we went to the job title, which is our first criteria, and got the salesman, which is 1, 2, and 3. Aside that, there could be other people who are salesmen, there could be female. But right here, the if statement is, we want to calculate only the male salesman. So the second criteria leads us to the gender, where we select the male as our second criteria and sum. Let's try this example again. Let's try to sum the salary of females that are above 45,000. And let's see if we get anything. Remember, we're summing the salary of females that are above 45,000. So what is the sum range? The salary. That's what we're trying to sum after the whole if statement. Now you select the range. Now what's our first criteria? The gender. We want to get the females. What's the second criteria? The same salary. We're trying to get the female who their salary is above 45,000. Select the range. Greater than 45,000. And here we go. So it looks like it's only one female whose salary is 45,000, which is why we have 47,000 here. Let's another look at it. We have this female here, 36,000, which is not up to the criteria. Now we have only just one female here. That is why it has just 47,000. So assuming we have more than that, you'll have summed it up and give us more than this. Now I hope with this example, you're able to understand the difference between the sum if, and the sum ifs.